fucking drag is making me crazy. There it is, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is Hump Day, and you are on board with Back to the Window, starring the one and only Scott and Scott. I am Scott Steen, lead handicapper at winnersandwhiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Rochelle, senior handicapper over winnersandwhiners.com.
And together we do this every day, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, on our very, we do our very best to help you guys on your journey to head back to the window. What's up, Tim Earl? JC Stone in the house. Scott Brothers. I could do a lot worse. You and I are both only child, right? We're only children.
Yep, that is correct.
So we have no idea what it's like to have a brother. So yeah, there you go. It's the brother I never wanted, Scott Rochelle, everybody.
Bit of a separation there on the actual timeline, but better late than never, I suppose.
That would have been one of those really surprising births.
Yeah.
For parents would be like pretty old, dude. So Matthew Torvik in the house. What's up, Scott? I know you have a heartbreaking. Oh, Timmy, I know it is. Opening day tomorrow, just one day away, man. We are psyched. I'm sure we're going to have a Bet the Farm from the opening day baseball games tomorrow. A Bet the Field.
I'm assuming you're going to be doing a play of the day video on baseball tomorrow.
It's very possible, my friend. Very possible. Brothers are overrated. Tim has a twin. You seen Tim and Nick?
Yeah.
Like peas in a pod, like big hairy peas in a pod. That's what they are. Mm-hmm. Detroit Lenny says, "What's up, gentlemen?" And Tim. Yep, there's somebody that does a show with Tim every day. It's Detroit Lenny. Don't forget to check out Detroit Lenny and Tim and Nick on their show that they do at 5 p.m. Eastern time every day called
Game Time Decision.
There you go.
There's no S. You'd be out of your mind if you think there was an S in there.
Yeah, that's just doesn't make any sense. No, it's Game Time Decision, man. Good to have Lenny in the house. Lenny, excited for these Tigers, buddy? Finally, a sport that Detroit may have a little bit of hope, a little bit of optimism.
Go Tigers.
A lot to like about this Pistons team, too. I think they're headed in the right direction. Scott?
Headed's the key word. They're still a couple of years away, but there's definitely some optimism.
Oh, there you go. Tim Earl said we might be talking some Masters today, and we are going to be talking Masters here on our show. We have corralled one of the best in the business. It's Jim Williams. You may know him from such shows as Just Parlays with Chris King and Jim Williams. So he's going to stop by and let us know all about his choices for the Masters that tees off Manana as well. Detroit Lenny, there's an optimistic son of a bitch. He says the Detroit Tigers are winning the division this year, Scott.
I don't know how they're supposed to win the division if your Royals are supposed to win the division. How does that work out?
It's going to be a real dogfight at the end. I see the Royals and Tigers coming down to final week.
Uh-huh. So. We'll see about that, but
it's the Royals are a team that's at least
they're definitely a year away.
They're going to fight for 500 this year. I think there's a wild card next year and then a real contender the year.
I think Detroit's in the same boat. I know Lenny's being a lot more optimistic than I am. I still like their win total over for the season.
Mm-hmm.
I see Detroit being around 82, which I'd consider a pretty good year there. But the truth is, no offense to Miggy, who's a future Hall of Famer, they got to get that contract off the books before they want to actually make another leap.
Well, they got 2 more years of
I think you'd agree with that, though. That contract is kind of hindering some of the roster flexibility.
My buddies and I were like making unmerciful fun of those contracts when they signed Verlander and Miggy, and both of those guys were sucking. So Verlander had obviously a resurgence. They were able to get rid of that contract, but Miggy, no resurgence, still have the contract. So I already have the Royals money line for tomorrow against Bieber. Yeah, dude, I don't know about that. I got to check out Bieber against the Royals because anecdotally I think he's done pretty well. So
I do want to ask, how much stock do you put into spring training numbers for pitchers and or for batters entering the first couple of weeks of the regular season?
Now, pitchers very little because pitchers they can go out there for an entire appearance and work on one particular pitch and not give a shit about what happens with the numbers. So pitchers very little. I like to see I like to see guys making contact as far as hitters go. I don't care about home runs in the desert. That really doesn't mean much. Extra base hits, anything like that. But yeah, I don't put any stock in pitchers' numbers whatsoever.
Okay. I was just curious because I'm sure a lot of people might be tempted to look at a certain pitcher, for example, who has an ERA of 40 in spring training and assume that they're automatically going to get shelled in the actual regular season. It doesn't exactly work that way, but I'm just throwing it out there. Yep. I'm sure some people who are not aware of the correlation or the lack thereof might have automatically assumed, well, if he's been awful for the last week, he's probably going to be terrible today. That's not how this works.
That is not how this works at all. By the way, somebody congratulating us if they had the Wizards Hawks over 228. You actually had it. You want to tell the story, Scott?
Well, it's the second time it's happened in about 2 weeks where let's just say we upload our plays relatively early in the morning, around 3 a.m., so to speak, or whatever.
I've been a little
early. We don't talk about what plays we're going to do. We just try not to step on each other's toes, but we don't actually coordinate. No. So my favorite play that I wrote a full write-up on was the over in the Hawks and Wizards game at 227 and a half on BetMGM. And then I check YouTube, I refresh the page, and I see there's been a video by the Steamroller that has the Hawks and the Wizards. So, of course, I clicked it, hoping you take the spread. You did not. You took the over. So I personally bet 227 and a half. And then I ended up giving out the Celtics for my play that day. Now, just to be clear, I do still like the Celtics, but my favorite play was the Hawks over. And unfortunately, you beat me to it. So there you go.
All right. Very good. Scott Nowak wants to know what my confidence level is on the Royals money line tomorrow. You know what? Not much. I want to see what Greinke has left in the tank, because he did not have much left in the tank at the end of the season last year. There's an example of a pitcher that's looked pretty good in spring training, and I put no stock in that whatsoever.
Well, Bieber, you can make the same argument with. Of course, Bieber had the Cy Young, and he had a great career up to this point. He's a lot younger than Greinke, but he barely pitched last year. And you kind of have to wonder how he's going to look in his first or second real outing out there in about, 5 months or so of regular season baseball. So I feel like that's a spot where it's a stay away for me. I guess I'd lean Kansas City because at the end of the day, Cleveland still can't hit. I'd be tempted by maybe a first inning no score or maybe a first 5 under. But once again, you have questions about both pitchers, so I'm not really sure where to attack that game.
Yeah, I don't hate that. It looks like the weather's going to be chilly, wind blowing in tomorrow. I don't think there's going to be any south breeze, so
just pitch around Ramirez and you should be fine.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so we got Jim coming on here in a few minutes. Let's to use a golf term, Scott, let's grip it and rip it. Let's talk about what happened yesterday. Let's get right through it. We've got kind of a new way to do it, and I'm going to see if I can push all the buttons at the right time. Spoiler alert, I probably won't be able to do it, but we're going to find out, because then we're going to have some fun. Scott, let's find out who it is. The Wednesday edition of Call the Cops. You all right?
Yeah, just enjoying the tune.
You head bobbing along to the Call the Cops thing? All right, very good. So let's start off in the NBA, Scott, and here we go. I'm going to find this here. Okay. All right. There we go. It's Call the Cops, everybody. It's the Suns minus 13 against the Lakers. Oh, there's some people singing the blues in the comment section on this one. Because if you had the Suns minus 13, they led by 25, Scott. 25 points with 5:58 left. And Lakers, they said, oh my God, we're about to get knocked out of the playoffs. We better start trying. Well, a little late, boys. But it wasn't too late to screw you. Lakers closed the game on a 22-8 run. If you had the Suns minus 13, call the Cops. They win by 11.
And looking at the NBA once again, if you had the Grizzlies plus 5.5 against the Jazz, they trailed by 2 with 1 second left, which means either hit a 3 or just miss the shot entirely. Unfortunately, Memphis got the offensive rebound and made a putback at the buzzer. Game went to overtime, and Utah won by exactly 6 after overtime. Rip up your Memphis plus 5.5 ticket.
By the way, that was the only play I lost yesterday. That was a premium, and I went 3-1. That was my only loser. That was a little double dip for me. He just fucking Just lose. Just lose, boys. Come on. All right. And finally, if you had the Trail Blazers plus 3.5 against the Thunder, they led by 18 points with 9:18 left. Thunder said, "Here we come." No one can stop the Thunder. They closed the game on a 26-4 run. Blazers lose by 4. That's right, kids. It means the Blazers scored 4 points in the last 9 minutes and 18 seconds. That, my friends, is just kind of all kinds of brutal right there, Scott.
It's also a bad beat for the season-long prop. Now, it's possible that the Thunder could win another game, but that comeback win with a G League squad officially clinched their over for the season win total. If they don't win another game and you lose because a team blew an 18-point lead with 9 minutes to go, they also beat the Suns randomly, who just didn't really care that week. That's pretty rough.
Yep.
And the Wizards also went over their win total yesterday with a win against Memphis. I mean, a win against Minnesota, I mean.
Everybody goes over their win totals. No, I don't think so. I'm guessing the Lakers might have gone under, huh?
I think they went under at the All-Star break.
Yeah, no shit. All right, so there was some good news out there. These are the people that had those winning tickets. They knew they had it. There was no fourth quarter comebacks, no shenanigans. Just a nice, easy victory. You're just hanging out at your house, sitting in the rocking chair.
So the first one was the Spurs plus 9 against the Nuggets. I believe we both liked the Spurs in that one, right?
Yes, we did. Uh-huh.
So they never trailed by more than 3 points in the entire game, led by 20 at the half, and they won by 19. So, yeah, really never in doubt. Shout out to the Spurs for clinching a play-in spot when they looked dead in the water about a month and a half ago.
Very good. Staying in the NBA because that's pretty much just about all there was. We will go away from that for our last one, but this one is the NBA. If you had the Wizards plus 12.5 against them Timberwolves, congratulations. They led by 1 point at halftime. They win by 18. You did not need the points, but you had 12.5 just in case. And if you had the Wizards right there plus the numbers, nice, easy victory. You were in the rocket chair.
I feel a little bit dumb, though, on the show yesterday because I said I liked the Wizards plus the 12.5, but I said I didn't think they were going to win the game, which is unfortunate because, you got the actual handicap of it right. You just underestimated how well Washington would play.
You're better than
Minnesota basically locked in a play-in spot last night. I know Denver lost too, but you got to beat Washington at home if you want to try to catch the 6th seed. So, yeah, it seems like Minnesota is going to be in the play-in. But either way, if you had some preseason spring training action there in the Mariners and Reds game, if you had the over 11, you had 11 runs in the first 5 innings. And the game ended, as you can see on the screen, 12-9. So nice and easy over.
There you go. All right, so we kind of alluded to it briefly, but let's talk about this real quick, Scott, before we get Jim here on the air. Let's find out who it was. I don't know who it could possibly be, but if you were, you saw it coming, so you can't be mad anymore. But now that it officially happened, you can definitely be disappointed. Well, that almost deserved the double there, Scott. You know what? Go ahead. I'll let you take this one.
So for this one, we talked about it briefly, but now it's time we actually dive in. It's going to be the Los Angeles Lakers because going into the season, besides all of the media heads talking about how this was a title contending team, Vegas had them having the second lowest title odds. Let's start with the basics, right? In order to win the championship, you tend to need to, make the playoffs. That's usually the first step in winning a championship. The Lakers were almost a foregone conclusion to make the playoffs according to the odds because they were minus 5,000 before the season started to make the playoffs. They didn't even make the play-in tournament because they officially got eliminated last night with their loss to Phoenix and with the Spurs win against the Nuggets. Is this the most disappointing team in the history of the NBA?
Wow, that's a bold.
It's a loaded question, but it's very tough to fully think of a second serious contender there, right?
It's certainly the most disappointing team since you and I have been doing this in the last
since I was born, minimum.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, not good. Not good at all. That was a bad performance by the Lakers. Scott, what do they do? What do you do here? You've got AD, you've got LeBron, obviously, you've got Russ. What do you do?
I said this a couple months ago on several podcasts. I said it this morning on a podcast. You better strap. They need to trade everybody, including LeBron. I think
Yeah.
they need to trade LeBron. And Westbrook, I'm not sure what you can get for him. Basically nothing. You're probably going to have to give up a first-round pick just to get rid of that contract. AD's a shell of himself. He's never healthy. So I don't know what you can get from him either, or for him either. And my serious question for you is LeBron, we've seen him miss 20-plus games this year. We've seen him really struggle with injuries the last couple of years. They're probably not going to trade LeBron. But what does LeBron even get you at this point? He can't carry a team like he used to be able to. What's the point?
That's a great question. And I guess the argument could be made that perhaps he would be better with a better cast around him.
But that's the point. I don't know if you can even unload Westbrook's contract. LeBron already said publicly that as soon as his son is able to join the NBA, he's leaving, and that he wants to go back to Cleveland. And we've seen LeBron ditch previous teams, the Cavs twice and the Heat. So if you're the Lakers and your draft picks are non-existent because you traded half of them for Anthony Davis, and you also, were in the Westbrook trade as well with some picks.
Right.
You have no draft capital. Your team's old. You have really no potential moving forward. What's the point of keeping LeBron? Because even though LeBron at this point is nowhere near the guy he used to be, of course I know he has the most points per game in the league, or he was in the running, whatever. I get it. I'm talking about for a long-term carry the roster for an entire season. He cannot do that anymore. Do you think a team would give up 2 first-round picks for LeBron for about a year and a half?
Possibly.
I think one team would.
Possibly, yeah. I think
so. If you could get 2 first-round picks for him, maybe a first-round pick for Anthony Davis, and you're the Lakers, so you can go after every free agent you want because you can usually sign somebody because you're the Lakers. Do you think it makes sense to completely blow it up and trade everybody, including LeBron?
I
think it does. They are not going to trade LeBron, but
No.
I would, because he's going to leave for free in about a year and a half.
A lot of people bringing up a couple points. Number one, there's a lot of agreement with you in the comment section that you're not going to trade LeBron. I'm on that bandwagon.
I said what they should do. They're not going
I understand. And the other thing is that people are pointing out is Vegas absolutely raked it in with the Lakers this year, both on their futures, on the make the playoffs, of course, on a nightly basis where they continue to disappoint day in, day out. So
that would have been the honorable mention, though, for Gambling Hero. There was somebody in Jersey who, before the season started, placed a $10,000 bet on the Lakers to miss the playoffs, and he made $150,000. So nice. Shout out to that guy.
Hey, Chris Lyons checking in, asking us if we still like the Atlanta over at 235, Scott.
One of those people who believe that if you miss like a 4-point line move at that point, I'm going to have to pass. I think if you want to go for any overs, you're better looking at player props at this point, because I don't know how you're supposed to miss a 6-point line move, a 9-point line move,
right,
and then start chasing. I can't.
A gun to my head, if I had to bet that game at 235, I'd still have to bet the over.
I'd still lean over, but there's no way I'm going to bet it now.
I'm not gonna make a bet on the fact that I can middle it,
Yeah.
But I would say, what percentage of games go over 227.5 but don't go over 235, Scott? What do you think?
Okay, no matter what answer I give you, there's no actual proof to that answer. So my answer is going to mean nothing. I don't know. 5%? I don't know.
Okay. I'm just wondering.
I don't know. What kind of question is that?
It's a fucking legitimate question is what it is. It's a very legitimate question when we're dealing with the question that was asked by Chris Lyons. So,
see, Scott, what you're missing is that Washington doesn't need to score like they did last night, because Atlanta might score 130. So you have to remember that for a total that's going to be in our case, the 220s, the high 220s, if Atlanta gets to 125, you're probably good. Hell, even 120, you're probably good, because Atlanta doesn't guard anybody.
Yes.
So even though Washington doesn't score as much, defensively they're still not very good.
Yep.
It's mostly fading two terrible defenses.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. So in answer to your question, Chris, I think Scott and I both kind of make it a habit not to chase huge moves like that when we're behind them.
My ceiling is probably 3 points. Occasionally I'll swallow some pride and back some steam if it's a 3-point move. That's kind of pushing it.
If there's been something visible that drives that steam, an injury, something weather for outside sports, something like that, then perhaps. But on just a regular game where it just opens at a friendly line and then goes up 6.5 points, I can't do it as a gambler. I just can't chase that. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
You bet, Chris. No problem. It wasn't a great answer. I mean, I get that. But for both of us,
we're not going to take an under now. I'll tell you that much.
That's the thing. A gun to my head, like I said, I'd still play the over. But yeah, the value is so much value is gone at that one. So, while we're waiting for Jim, let's talk about a little something going on tonight, Scott. Any game you're excited to see? Because we talked about the motivation angle, and it gets more crucial as we go on towards the end of the season. Anything that stands out? By the way, if you guys want our thoughts on some of these totals, don't forget we did Ali's show last night. It's still available over there at Max Wagers Network and Picks and Parlays YouTube channel. If you want to check us out doing Total Chaos. It's the same story with the Lakers since 1777 memorabilia. If you remember when Kobe was on the Lakers, everybody rooted for them to lose except Lakers fans. It's sort of the same thing. I would say LeBron's even more polarizing than Kobe. I think generally most people liked Kobe.
Well, Kobe did have those rape allegations, but those, I don't know how I'd say legitimate those accusations were. So he already alienated some people with that, but no, because LeBron, especially with Twitter, has opinions about everything.
Yeah.
I think Kobe was mostly to himself, wasn't it?
Yes. I think he saw when he had the problems there in Colorado with the maid and whatnot. I think he saw how quickly that could blow up, and I don't think he was a big presence on social media, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
I'm just saying, when we're talking about LeBron, people rooting against him and Kobe, a lot of people liked Kobe, but he also had some legal issues that definitely threw some people off.
Nothing a gigantic diamond can't solve, Scott.
Yeah, but when it comes to the reasons with LeBron, people not liking him, I feel like a lot of it is because, and I'm sure people have talked about it, is the fact that he has opinions on everything. And LeBron always seems to have the need to express his opinion or to get people to talk about him in regard to almost any given topic. Now, I don't really care, to be honest, but some people do and think LeBron is a pretty self-centered guy and that he really only cares about what he wants. And that kind of turns some people off. Is that a fair statement?
It is. Chris Lyons has heard Chicago had some injuries, jumped on Boston minus the 6. I think that's a play that we both like with Brown and Tatum going to go. Horford looks like he's going to go.
I mean, I got it anyway. Even if Levine plays,
Levine is going to play, but he's upgraded to probable. He just missed. They were just keeping him out the first game.
That's the point. But Chicago once again 2-20 straight up against top 8 teams. They can't beat anybody with a pulse.
Yep, absolutely right. We're big fans of that Boston play. And may even have something else from that game here a little bit later. We don't like Kobe. We love Kobe. Now, there you go. So,
well, Kobe's viewed as being an all-time Laker. I'm assuming he's viewed as an even bigger Laker than Magic. Can I say that? I think it's close. I think it's very, very close.
You can. I'm not sure it's accurate, but
I don't know. I actually am curious if Lakers fans like Magic or Kobe more.
Something that's completely unprovable. So,
but the point is that the fact that that's even a discussion tells you how much the Lakers faithful love Kobe. I'm just saying from an actual national standpoint, I understand memorabilia's points of people rooting against the Lakers back when Kobe was the guy.
Right. Well, then there was the whole Shaq versus Kobe thing. You had people like picking one side or the other, whether they like Shaq better, whether they like Kobe.
Because Shaq had all the finals MVPs, and people thought that Kobe was being let's just say selfish, and he was being a bit of an egomaniac trying to get Shaq out of there. Then Shaq had the rap situation where he roasted Kobe on that one stage that one time, and you kind of had to pick sides. And Shaq, being the more entertaining and funny personality, I feel like caused a bit of a divide between people who like Shaq and people who like Kobe, which caused more people to hate Kobe.
Yeah, you never saw Kobe doing a commercial for Icy Hot.
Yeah.
So
that was more post-retirement. But the point is, Shaq was a beloved comedy guy. He was a personality. So because he and Kobe didn't get along at the end, some people sided with Shaq and automatically turned on Kobe.
True. Bronco Devil pointing out Magic could play every position, and indeed he did.
I'm not saying who's better. I think Magic's a better player. I'm just saying when it comes to Lakers fans and who they love more, I think it's really close between Magic and Kobe. That was my point.
Okay.
But I think you'd agree Magic was probably the better basketball
player. Jesus. Yeah, more versatile for sure. You know, they had the finals where he played center.
So, I mean, it's a bit of a hot take for some, not for me. I think Magic is a top 5 player of all time. That's not a hot take. I don't think Kobe's a top 5 player of all time. I think he's top 10. I don't think he's top 5.
Speaking of Lakers, have you seen that series on HBO Max about the Lakers dynasty? I haven't. My wife said she wanted to watch it with me, so I've kind of been holding off. I'm about to give up on her.
I heard it's great, though.
And then start watching. Have you not watched it?
I have not. I actually want to get into it.
Okay. All right. Very good. You watched The Dance, I assume?
Yes. Yes, I did. What else was I supposed to watch? It was during a pandemic.
Okay. Tiger King?
I never got into Tiger King.
Yeah,
I'll watch a Tiger King if it's based on Tiger Woods.
Yeah. You little Masters talk here, Scott. You like Tiger Woods to do anything at all? You like him to make the cut or anything?
I bet on him under 4.5 bogeys in round 1. So I have him not totally sucking on the first 18 holes. But once again, it's a situation where if you want to bet Tiger, you're going to get robbed. Just because whatever the odds are, they should be a lot higher. Now, I know Tiger is the best golfer of all time. I know he's won the Masters several times. I get it.
Is he the best golfer of all time?
You can argue it's either him or Nicklaus, but I'm going Tiger.
I was going to say, that sounds like something somebody in their 20s would say.
I'm going Tiger. But either way, Tiger dominated the sport like nobody else before. But for me, Tiger automatically is going to be underpriced by all the markets. It was at 35-1 on DraftKings, and it was 75-1 on, I think it was WinBet yesterday. He should be 150-1. He has not been in a real PGA event in about 2 years. If he wins, it would be the greatest achievement in the history of sports. I don't think he's going to win. So if you want to bet him at 50-1, even if he wins, you are basically getting robbed. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, go on with that.
And I'm rooting for Tiger. Like, don't be wrong. If Tiger wins, I will gladly root for him the entire way through. But the odds you are getting on him to really succeed are insane. And you are automatically surrendering a bunch of value because whatever price you get, it should probably be 3 times as much.
Well, we talk about it a lot with the various taxes. The Yankees tax used to be the Patriots tax, that kind of thing. And there's definitely a Tiger tax, and the way to beat it is to go the other way.
It's the biggest tax in all of sports.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Especially with golf having 100 and something competitors in every single tournament. The liability on Tiger from public bettors, especially with legal sports betting now,
right?
It's probably going to be the highest liability arguably ever. You think?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know how many people.
19 is close.
I don't know how many people will be betting on golf. It's probably the biggest golf liability.
I think that's the point. I think the public will blindly bet Tiger because he's back and it's his first tournament in about 2 years.
James Mounts brings up a great point. His competition is greater now than when Jack played.
Yeah.
It's true. You have better equipment. You guys are in better shape. So, I mean, you can't compare somebody in the 60s that was using actual woods to these guys that are hitting titanium.
Well, he's not even talking about the actual clubs. He's talking about the competition. Like I agree with that. I think that Tiger inherited an era which was, I don't want to say light, but I do believe that when Nicklaus had to go up against, Faldo and all these other guys, you had Norman, you had a lot of really high quality golfers during his time.
True.
When Tiger took over, it was kind of the start of Mickelson, and you had some Vijay Singh in there, I guess. And
yeah.
Did you have any seriously elite golfers that come to mind there?
No, but I know there's some that I'm not thinking of.
I agree, but I'm in top of my head. I'm thinking of Mickelson, Vijay Singh. Yeah. He had a bit of a Patrick Harrington run there in like the early mid 2000s.
Yeah, he had Ian Woosnam, Sergio.
Sergio, okay.
Those guys are kind of his
That's
contemporaries.
the point, though. Tiger did inherit a little bit of a lighter time, but I mean, he was dominating at a pace that you will probably never see again in golf.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that.
Which is why I personally think he's the best golfer of all time.
Bronco Devil says, when you think about it, although I will say this before I get to Bronco Devil, when you know the quote when Arnold Palmer saw Nicholas play, right?
No.
He plays a game with which I am not familiar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's Ernie Els. There you go.
Yeah, that's a good call too. I forgot about Els.
Bronco Devil says, when you think about it, golf is only what you score, like bowling. True.
Well, it's an individual sport.
Yeah, but you're not. It's not an individual competition sport like a tennis would be, where.
Even tennis, you're interacting with another person.
That's what I'm saying.
Golf, you can ignore everybody else. You're just by yourself.
Yep, absolutely true. $50 on Tiger to win at plus 4,000.
Yeah, Carter. No, I'm saying you do not have to do that. He should be 150 to 1.
Or better.
Don't get me wrong. He might win it, and you might win $2,000 for a $50 bet. You should win closer to $5,000, if not more.
Memon, mark this spot, everybody.
That's exactly my point.
If Tiger wins, I will send you a personalized. Scott and I will sign it. We'll send you a John Deere straw hat.
I'm rooting for you. Don't get me wrong. I want to send you that hat, but you have to understand my point. You're automatically losing about 2/3 of the value before the tournament even happens.
Yep, I agree. By the way, I want to give a shout out. I didn't do it the other day. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Brad Miller, a guy that grew up on the lanes with my kids and is now having some success on the Pro Bowlers Tour. He finished third in the USBC Masters, the hardest tournament in the country, in the world, and had a nice third place finish. So shout out to Brad and his third place finish, $25,000. Not too bad for a boy from Raytown. No matter what his bio says, he's from Lee Summit. He ain't.
I like that bet though. You should bet if he plays Saturday. Yeah, bet on him to make the cut or not. Like that, I can get behind. I took the under 4.5 bogey approach, so I could back Tiger while also being realistic about the expectations. Do I expect him to look good? Not really. But as long as he doesn't implode on 5 separate holes, I was fine with making that bet.
All right, very good. Well, it's been rumored, and now it is coming to fruition. He is the one, the only. You know him, you love him. He does it every day with Chris King over there on Just Parlays. He's the thinking half of that duo. It's Jim Williams. What's up, Jimmy?
I wish I had a hat like you guys. It would be good to have. It's good. I apologize for the wonky internet here. So you got my meme there.
No problem.
I heard you guys talking about the Masters. It's a tournament unlike no other.
That's right. It's a tradition like no other, man.
Jimmy Nance like to say, right?
And so is me making terrible Masters bets. That's a tradition like no other as well.
There you go. It's a very interesting course. It's funny, when I was preparing to come on today, I went back to the last time I was there and did a column, which was back in 2017. And the funny thing about it, guys, is it rewards. It's going to sound crazy, but it actually rewards the way Bobby Jones set the course up. It rewards those who play the game, complete players. Guys who can drive the ball straight, guys who play good irons play, and those folks who understand putting, because the course itself doesn't look particularly ominous, but where it gets you is you end up, if you're off the side of the course, you end up behind trees. You find out if you don't play good iron play that when you chip the ball on the green, it suddenly rolls back down, into the fairway. It's just a wonky but interesting course that benefits those who can play all aspects of the game and penalizes those who can't. And, then they tiger-proofed it a few years ago to make it longer. The other thing I think most people are surprised about when they actually, see the course in real life is how hilly it is.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I was going to say the walking is definitely one of the most underrated challenges of the Masters.
Yeah. It's a very hilly course. And the other thing, uh, you know, that is interesting to Scott Rochelle's point is that the greens they're undulating. So depending upon where they put the pin on any given day, you've got some really, um, almost diabolical shots. I mean, it's like they put the pin placement. You're like, you come on, give me a break. This green's bad enough, and now you put it there where it's almost like a putt putt course. I mean,
Right.
I have to bonk it through 7 different things and bank it off of this to get it in the hole. So again, if you actually just walk the course or look at the course, it doesn't look foreboding, but it just is got so many little quirks and things that benefit it that it makes it it makes it Augusta.
Well, I guess my question for you, though, Jim, based on that, since, of course, we're going to get into some of our picks or some of our
Mhm.
long shots, however you want to phrase it, for the actual tournament, you mentioned
Right.
complete players. I know one of the hot
Mhm.
names around a lot of golf conversationalists is Justin Thomas at around 13 to 1 or
Right.
so, potentially winning. Do you have any thoughts on any
Mhm.
complete golfers there? Are you interested in Koepka? Or are there any guys that you're looking at that you think have a great chance to actually win the tournament?
I think you're right on Brooks. I think Brooks Koepka is a good bet. I think Jordan Spieth is a good bet. Both of those guys can play. Um, they don't they don't really have any holes in their game, and I
Yeah, I think
think that.
Spieth's concerning because he occasionally misses the fairway too much, but I agree with the rest
Well,
of the
yeah,
point.
true. But I do think that I think the long drivers are a little overrated in this because
Mhm.
being a long driver helps you at Augusta, but it doesn't necessarily make you where some courses the long driver
Yeah.
is the guy who can definitely carry the day.
Mhm.
Augusta, it helps you, but it doesn't necessarily. If you can't play the short game as well, if you're not good with the irons, if you're not good on the green, hitting the ball that distance. If that were the case, John Daly would have won the Masters 7 times.
Right.
It's not. It doesn't, and that's why. Um, you know, you look at the guys like the Jordan Spieth, the Brooks Koepka, even although he's here, a guy like a Rory McIlroy when he's on. Guys who have a complete game are the guys who are rewarded at Augusta.
I'll tell you, there is one guy that the odds are just so tempting that I have to play him, and that's Cameron Champ at 500 to 1.
Yeah, I saw that too.
He's the guy that pretty much drives the ball further than anybody else. His short game absolutely sucks, but he has been able to eke out 2 top 30 finishes at Augusta, so he's not totally worthless there. He does make the cut. At 500 to 1, I'm willing to put a couple of pizza bucks on Cameron
There's
Champ.
It's $5
you
to
can't
win about
yeah
2,500.
What I'm
you
saying.
can't lose in a case like that.
Right.
It used to be Tiger versus the field,
Right.
Yeah.
and now I guess the bet is can Tiger make the cut?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I think that's probably the most interesting thing. I don't know. I came in late on you guys, so if I'm running over areas that you've already
Oh
talked
no, we
about,
we,
stop
we didn't
me.
really talk about anything until you
Let me
showed up.
let me ask you
Oh,
this, Jim, and this is something we've talked
yeah.
about for the last couple of days. What do you think the true odds on Tiger should be? He's listed at 40 to 1 in the books. What do you
I
think?
said 150.
What do you think the true odds should
That's
be?
40 to 1 is ridiculous. I mean
Yeah.
that's not even close.
I said
I think
150 to 1
150's
if I had to guess.
Yeah. See,
yeah,
and I was
I
thinking
I think
even
that's
closer to 200, but
I would have gone 200. I mean,
Okay.
he's got I mean he's a bionic man, okay? He's
Mhm.
got pins in his ankles, he's got pins in his leg. His entire right leg was rebuilt.
right.
Um, okay, so you got that to begin with. Remember, and this is before the accident. Okay, Tiger had 2 totally reconstructed knees. Plus,
Right.
he has a back injury. Right, so and he's 48 years old. So
Mhm.
you take 2 totally rebuilt legs from that amazing car accident. Thank God he survived, and it's good for him and for golf that he's back. But Tiger's in a position right now where we talked a little bit about it earlier. I'm sure he feels good, and there's no doubt that can Tiger play 18 holes at Augusta? Yeah, he can play 18 holes at Augusta. Can he play 36 holes at Augusta? In the heat that usually comes this time early into April, he probably can play 36 holes. Can he play 36 holes that's competitive golf is the key. And I don't know. I think we'll find out. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think
I would
it's lovely
agree.
that he's there. It kind of reminds me, way of Arnold Palmer. When Arnie would come and play the first couple rounds, and people would be able to pay their respects to him, and then he would get back in that Gulfstream jet with the little umbrella on the back of the plane and fly over the golf course on his way back to Pennsylvania.
So
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, here's the weather forecast. Going to be 72, small chance of rain tomorrow, 67 on Friday, 58 on Saturday, 68 on Sunday, and it's going to be windy every day until Sunday when the front blows through. It's going to be 15-mile-an-hour winds or better at Augusta. So we're not going to see a lot of low scores, most
All right,
likely.
so it's not going to be the heat,
right?
But the wind is a problem at Augusta because the way the course is set up, it becomes a crosswind. And anybody who's ever played golf before, the last thing you want, you don't mind hitting into a wind. You don't mind hitting with the wind.
Yep.
The last thing you want to see is a swirling wind. And that's a problem at Augusta with that. But that being said, guys like Spieth, Koepka, guys like that, they can keep the ball low. And if you can keep it low and keep it straight, then you can overcome that. The conditions sound pretty favorable, I would think, given what you just said. For it not to be humid, that's good. And so we'll see. But again, I would caution anybody out there who's getting ready to place a bet that go with the guys who are consistent, like you said. Guys who are top 10 finishers there on a consistent basis, because they know the course and they know what to expect.
Very good. I want to give a shout out to Allie Burns. Allie Burns in the comment section. What up? Plus money, honey. Ready to get it. You got all three of us here today. So New York Yankees postponed for Thursday. Yeah, I did see that, Chris. I forgot to mention that. Yeah.
So you think it's time to segue into some of our outright picks?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Jim, you're the visitor here. What do you got? What's your best play at the Masters?
I'm going to go with Jordan Spieth.
Okay.
I think he's played well there, and I just like the way he's played over the past few years there. I know it's not the sexy bet, but I would go with Jordan Spieth, and my number 2 guy on that list would probably be Brooks Koepka. Again, those are not names that are gonna excite anybody, because they're gonna say, yeah, big deal. You pick 2 guys who easily could win. But sometimes the obvious is not the worst thing to do.
Okay. I'm a fan of Cameron Smith, and
he's good. Yeah.
The problem is a lot of the value is gone. You could have had him at the beginning of the season before he went out. And,
what is it, like 13-1 now? 14-1 now?
14-1, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you'd have had him before he shot 34 under, you'd have been in great shape. But he is the first player in Masters history, which surprised me, to shoot all 4 rounds in his 60s. He still lost by 5 strokes to Dustin Johnson.
Right.
But he's a guy that has shown he can do it at Augusta. Yeah. I like him. I also like I hate Patrick Cantlay at 25-1. PGA Tour Player of the Year, had 3 wins last year. Not great at the majors, but I think he's ready to break out. He did have a 3rd round 64 in 2019 and had a share of the lead on Sunday.
Right.
Shoots it away on the back 9, so it could be
his problem. His problem to me is his iron play is consistently inconsistent.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean,
correct.
he can definitely. There's no doubt he can play. It's stringing 4 days together. And
agreed. I'll give you one more. I'll give you my long shot, and that's 65-1. It's Joaquin Neiman.
okay.
A lot of people look at correlated courses, and he won in Riviera,
hmm
which correlates in many ways to the hilly Augusta National
Yeah,
Course there.
it does. That's a good point.
He's a good iron
It,
player and very good on the bent grass green. So you
mhm.
could do worse than Neiman at 65-1.
No, I mean, yeah, the Riviera is much. Well, yeah, there's a lot of similarities between, because it's also a very narrow course. So yeah.
Somebody putting Scotty Scheffler out there. I don't hate that. Scott, what do you got for us?
Well, Scheffler, I'm looking into because, of course, now he is the number one golfer in the world. The point is,
hmm
I'm not sure if there's any value on picking him now at around 12-1 or so.
hmm
I am kind of curious how he's going to look in the Masters. I know he's been great leading up to it, but looking at his actual Masters career, he's finished top 20 in each of the last two Masters, but he's never finished top 15. So
Okay.
he's had a decent track record, not amazing here at the course. So I don't know if I'd like to take him at around 12-1. I'm going to pass personally. I went for
hmm
long shots. Truth is, I really just decided to, take two guys that I think have a lot of value at the current number, despite
hmm
what the odds of them actually winning are. It's going to be first one, Corey Connors at around 55-1 on DraftKings. He's finished top 10 in each of the last two Masters. He's known for being a bit of a quick starter in some of these tournaments, so I could expect him to potentially compete for first round leader or so. But 55-1 for a guy who's finished top 10 in each of the last two Masters, I think is quite appealing. And I went for the serious long shot with Patty Reed at 100-1. And other books have 80-1, 66-1. I did find 100-1 offshore, but he has finished top 10 in 3 of the last 4 Masters. He also won the event. He has won a green jacket in 2018. Now, I know his current form isn't the best. I'm aware of that, but Jim mentioned the wind and how difficult that might be.
hmm
And we know that Reed is an elite scrambler. So I do believe that he can definitely compete if the weather is a huge problem. Reed's pretty good at salvaging pars, potentially avoiding catastrophe. 100-1 for a former champion who has been successful here in the last 4 years. I really like. I think 100-1 is a good price for him.
Well, he said
Scotty, on Connor, that's not a bad bet because he's the grinder, and he's got that kind of mentality, and in many ways, Augusta is a battle of attrition, and so a golfer like him, he doesn't have a hole in his game. It's not a sexy game, but it's a grinder game, and grinders at Augusta can be you know can be very effective. So it's not an outrageous bet.
Lessman
once
pointing out
again-
that Corey is a nice pick for top 10. You can get him at plus
Yeah.
450 for top 10. So yeah,
No,
that's a
you're right.
solid as well.
You're right, Scott, too, as well. I mean,
I know Steen was about to mention how awful Patty Reed's been lately, so you can get that off your chest, because I know he's been terrible. But 100-1 for a former champion who's been pretty good here, I do think he should be closer to around 75-1, in my opinion.
Okay.
well, Patty Reed too has played a lot of of the European golf, and that's where it's not that I don't want to compare it to links, but links forces you to play that type of grinder game too. And so that does benefit you as well. I mean, obviously the courses couldn't be different, but the style of play in many ways is the same because you have no chance or no benefit to make a mistake. There's not a lot of room for error there.
I'm kind of hoping for bad weather with Reed, just because I feel like if there's going to be awful weather with rain and with everything like that, I know Reed can scramble with the best of them. So at least he has some area of his game where he can definitely gain some strokes on the competition.
Well,
all right, very good.
That would do it. Yeah. I'm not looking for a tsunami. I didn't think.
No, I'm not hoping for that, but I'm just saying a little bit decent amount of wind, some rain.
Yeah,
I think that Reed can hang around.
Well, Scott Steen, our resident meteorologist, I don't think you said rain, did you, Scott?
Could be a little bit of rain on Thursday, but
right. But that's actually the best day temperature wise. You were saying it's like 72, right?
Yep. So,
And
And
then it gets
Westman, you are
poor.
right. Reed has been known to cheat before. I mean, if I'm gonna have money on you, I want you to try to win. You know,
that's right. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Is that that was the Georgia thing, right? When he was
Yeah,
yes, I believe so.
there's that great line when Earl Weaver was managing the Baltimore Orioles, and he was mic'd up and forgot it on Monday Night Baseball. Bases are loaded. He doesn't have anybody in the bullpen. I forget who the kid was on the mound. He taps the kid on the shoulder and says, "Hey, look." He goes, "Yeah." He says, "All I got to tell you is, if you know how to cheat, this would be the time to do it." And walks off the mound and forgets that was on ABC national television.
That's
So,
fantastic.
or if you know Earl Weaver in those days, probably didn't mind at all.
By the way, fun little fact here, not golf related. Scott and I had a brief side bet conversation before we went on air today, and I wanted 4-1 odds on Chris Paul and Devin Booker to officially be ruled out during our show. And about 5 minutes ago, they were both officially ruled out. So I like to pat myself on the back. 4-1. Thanks a lot. There you go.
Good hunch. And they were not even questionable before as we went on the air. They were nowhere to be found on the injury list. So.
They were not not on the radar, huh?
Yep.
Well,
they're on the radar, just wasn't official. I just think the whole team's hung over. They set the record for the most wins in franchise history yesterday. I didn't expect anyone to play.
Well, yeah, that's one of those days when you know that you get up in the morning and everybody calls to the coach and says, would it upset you if we just didn't show up today?
Yeah, pretty much.
Jim, got any final thoughts before we let you get back to your real?
No, it's always fun to be with you guys, and I think that it's going to be a lot of fun to watch the Masters. It'll be fun to watch Tiger. I think that he's going to bring the eyeballs back, which is basically, it's good for him. It's good for the game. It's good for the Masters. And, one final thing, and that is, by the way, if you win the Masters, you get the green jacket. You only get to keep it for a year, and then you have to, then you can wear it when you go to the course. And by the way, there's 372 members of Augusta National Golf Course, and the only way you can get in is being invited after somebody either dies or
gives it up,
gives up their situation. And by the way, to buy in, once if you are invited, it's $50,000, which actually, you mentioned Riviera. To get into Riviera, it's $275,000.
Well, yeah, but you also forget though, if you get into the Masters, you get the free dinner before.
Well, yeah, you get there's a lot to be said for Augusta National.
Yeah, just triple up on the caviar, and you'll make that money back in
you're good to go. If you like pimento cheese sandwiches, you're in good shape in Augusta. But guys, thanks so much for letting me drop by. It's always a pleasure.
Hey, where can we find you?
You can find me, all over the place. You can find me basically at JW Media DC, and also I'm with Chris King as your lead-in every day as we talk about picks and parlays. And basically the key here is to watch the entire network all day long. And we're gonna have Sean Miller join us. Who's going to slide into that 4 to 5 o'clock slot, and he's going to be talking international soccer. He actually is en route this weekend to the Champions League, and he'll be in Madrid on Saturday, and then he'll be popping up to Manchester for a couple of some games, and then when he returns, he'll debut in April. So you guys will have a chance to have Sean on. He's a really nice guy and a really talented writer, and so we're having fun at the Max Wagers Network, and we hope that everybody joins you guys every day at 3 o'clock and hangs around for the rest of the day.
Your quick impression of me with Scott and Sean on the same soccer show. So Scott, what did you think about that? Sean, do you agree? That's pretty much what I'm going to be adding at this point. So
there's nothing to there's no shame in that, boys. There's no shame in that. And tomorrow, baseball has been very, very good to me. So we're all
Little
excited
Chico
about the
Escuela
opener.
there for you.
Yeah,
Nice.
actually, I was lucky enough to be in St. Petersburg on the day that Bill Murray and Garrett Morris filmed that segment.
Oh, that's excellent.
The Yankees were playing the Mets, and they Garrett Morris had dressed up as the Mets player. By the way, funny thing was the manager of the Mets at that time was Joe Torre.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go. But yeah, baseball been very, very good to me, and should be from this point forward very, very good to those of you who watch the Max Wagers Network, because I'm sure you guys and everybody else can be all over baseball.
We're psyched. We're psyched. All right, buddy. We're gonna let you get
Be
out
well.
of here.
Take care.
Thanks for joining us. Enjoy
Hey,
the
thanks
week.
for letting
Enjoy
me
the
have.
Masters and baseball and all that. And I'm sure we'll
Yes,
talk
sir.
again really soon. There you
Be
go.
well, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Jimmy. There he goes, everybody. Jim Williams, good guy. Does a lot of stuff behind the scenes here besides the show that he does with Chris. So, yeah, very good. All right, Scott. Well, it is time. Everybody has waited patiently, and I think it's time for us to reward that patience. Are you ready, my friend?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it right here as we get ready to, put on our good overalls. It's Wednesday. Got those hump day overalls out. Get your straw hat on and adjust it just at a rakish angle. Climb aboard your John Deere. Get those keys out and get ready, kids, because once again, it is time to bet the farm. All right, and we're back. There you go. It's the hats that have caused so much discussion, Scott. So, All right, buddy, what do you got? What do you got cooked up for us on the old farm play for today?
Well, you're forgetting something.
Oh, that's right, man. You lose a couple and you totally get out of your rhythm. Scott, I know we had to bet the farm play yesterday. How'd that go?
We had the Rockets plus 17.5 against the Nets. They lost by double digits, but they did cover the number, so we picked up a nice winner.
Hey, you bastards, cue the banjos. Yeah. All right, there you go. All right, we're going to try to make it a deuce. 2 in a row today, Scott. Now what do we got?
So for this one, we're going to go back to the NBA, talking about that Celtics and Bulls game. We're going to go with the Celtics team total over 114.5 at around minus 125. Boston has scored at least 124 points in 7 of its last 9 games. Chicago defensively, not very good. The Bulls have allowed at least 127 points in each of their last 3 games. Boston ranks 5th in offensive efficiency. We know Brown and Tatum are both elite offensively. And Chicago has been terrible defensively all season long because the Bulls ranked tied for 21st in defensive efficiency. But Boston should really have a decent shot at getting to 120 here, especially with basically everyone healthy besides Robert Williams, who was never much of an offensive threat anyway. But 114.5 is too low. I'm going to take the over. All
right, there you go. We're all over Boston sides, team totals. Beat the number in the over. Should be a good day in the NBA for us. We're excited. We're excited for you guys as well. Thanks for joining us. As always, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to check us out each and every day. We do this 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Scott and I will do our very best to help you in that never-ending journey to head back to the window.